Hello students, welcome to this session. I have just solved this JEE Main Test 86 and here I am with the analysis of the physics part. So I have regarded no question as tough in this paper. 7 were easy, that is very straightforward, and 18 were medium. You can find them easy if you have done it very nicely. There is a flaw in question number 16, there is some printing error. I have made it out what they wanted to say, and in 23 I still made out what they have said, but the photo is not that clear of the vernier. Rest all I can say, this paper is easy as compared to the JEE Main level. This should be scoring. So if I take the 7 easy question, 28 marks, and if I take this 9 to be medium, you can solve. So 9 and 7, 16. So 16 means approximately 60 is the score that a student who is just somewhat comfortable in physics should get. And for the students aspiring for advanced, I think 90 or maybe 100 is the score you can get. In this, I am sure many of you who are actually have done 99 plus percentiles in your first attempt, many of you might be scoring 9500 in this, 95 or 100 in this paper. So let's begin. A beam of electrons striking a copper target produces X-rays. Spectrum is given, keeping the voltage same if the copper is replaced by a different metal. So if you have replaced a metal, the cutoff wavelength and characteristic lines. You know, characteristic lines are basically that element dependent, so they will change. But the cutoff wavelength, that lambda cutoff, you know, is simply hc by ev, and since potential is same, this lambda cutoff is going to remain same. So cutoff wavelength will remain same, but the characteristic line will change. So go for option A, that is the answer here. Next, ball falls freely from 45 meters. When the ball is at a height of 25 meters, it explodes into two equal pieces. One of them acquires an additional horizontal component of 10, while its vertical component remains the same. The distance between the two pieces when they strike the ground. Okay, so it is height of 45 and this is 25. So first of all, what I can make, the total time originally, if the single body would have been there, the total time would have been root 2 h by g, that is root 2 into 45 by 10, that is 3 seconds. Now it has fallen 25 meter. So to fall 25 meter, the time that has been elapsed already, that would be root 2 into 20, because it has fallen 20. It is at height of 25, that means it has fallen 20. So that is 2 seconds. That means the remaining time is 1 second. In this 1 second, one of the piece has a velocity of 10. So it explodes into two equal pieces. So we know the VCM x component is 0. So one gets 10 here. So there will also get 10 here. 10 meter per second. Vertical velocities remain same, that means they will strike the ground after 1 second. So in 1 second, if they are going with a speed of 10 and 10 in opposite direction to conserve momentum, the gap after 1 second between them would be 20 meters. So you can directly go for option B in this particular case. Next, you have a particle mass m going in the internal smooth surface of vertical cylinder of R. Find the force with which the particle acts on the cylinder wall if at the initial moment its velocity equals v0 and it forms an angle alpha with the horizontal. Okay, so it's a vertical cylinder, radius r, and the force particle evolve if the initial moment of it, the velocity a time its velocity equals v0 and angle alpha with the horizontal. So velocity is not exactly horizontal, it is something like this, v0 at alpha. So what we have this component, this is v0 sin alpha here, and this component v0 cos alpha here. So for that circular part, we can say it is v0 cos alpha, but that v0 sin alpha will make it go up. Now, so the force would be only the centripetal one, I can say. So the force acts on the cylinder wall would be normal, and normal would be equal to mv, that is for circular motion, that is v0 cos alpha whole square by r. So that is mv0 square cos square alpha by r. So go for option D in this case. Next, what we have now, two identical metal plates are given positive charges q1 and q2. q1 is greater. If they are now brought closer to form a parallel plate capacitor with capacitance C, the potential difference between them is. So this is a question you might have done somewhere. It is q1 and it is q2. So we know when they are facing each other, the total charge divided by 2 appears on the outer surfaces. And now what is the charge left here? The charge left here would be q1 minus q2 by 2, and here it would be q1 minus q2 by 2 with negative sign. So effectively, if I see, the potential difference of the field in between region will be because of these two, or effectively you can say the effective charge of the capacitor formed would be q1 minus q2 by 2. So therefore the voltage difference would be this q by c, that you can write, that is q1 minus q2 upon 2c. So that is the option D you can do here. Otherwise you can write the electric field, it would be constant pointing from here to here, and you can convert in that form also, but this is a better way of writing it. Planet moves around the sun, sweeps area A1 in 2 days, A2 in 4 days, A3 in 9 days. The relation between them is, we know whenever the planet goes around the sun, dA by dt areal velocity remains constant. So if it is take 2, 4 and 9, the area ratio will also be in the ratio 2:4:9. So you can directly say A1 is to A2 is to A3 would be 2:4 9. So what we are left with, so if I do this, so it's clearly suggest that we can directly say A2 is going to be twice of A1, or you can say A1 is equal to A2 by 2. That is the thing you will write. So 2A1 will be equals to A2. From there only you can get this relation and you will make it out. This will come out to be exactly like this, that you can do yourself. So just remember, areal velocity remains constant. That is a fact you are using here. Next one. Two capacitors in a circuit are joined as shown. The potentials at A and B are V1 and V2. Okay, what would the potential at the point D? So because they are in a series, so what I can say, the charge will be same Q and Q. Let's say this is plus minus, let's say this is plus and minus. I can take it using like Q is equal to CV. For the first one, C into V, potential difference would be V1 minus V2 VD, and for C2 it would be C2 into VD minus V2. So what I have, C1 V1 minus C1 VD, I write it proper, it is C1 VD equals C2 VD minus C2 V2. So what you have, C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2, that will give you VD. So go for option, no, not B, sorry, C1 V1. So be careful, don't do it that fast. It is C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. Next. Long wire carries a steady current. It is bent into a circle of 1 turn and the magnetic field at the center of the coil is B. Now it is bent into n turns, the field becomes n square B. That is the result I ask my students to remember. Just remember, if turns is n, the field at center becomes n square by B and the magnetic moment becomes mu by n or m by n. How you do this? Just let me remind you. Let's say if number of turns in, let's say n. So let's say Rn would be the radius. What you will write? 2 pi Rn into n would be equals to the original 2 pi r, you can say, or you can say the overall length of the wire. You will write it as length L. So Rn would be L upon 2 pi n. So radius would be inverse to n, and B at center you remember is equal to mu naught Ni by 2r. So this is proportional to n by Rn. Rn is inverse to n, that means it is proportional to n square. Similarly you can check for the magnetic moment, but I advise students to just remember it because this is so generally asked and it's an easy thing. If you don't remember, you can derive easily. 2 seconds after projection, projectile is traveling in a direction inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. After 1 more second it is traveling horizontally. The magnitude and direction of its velocity is okay. So after 1 more second it is traveling horizontally. 2 seconds after it was 30. So after 1 more it is horizontally. That means time taken to reach the maximum height, which you write as t by 2, is equal to 3 seconds. So t is equal to 6 second time of flight, which you write as 2 uy, but better you can write 2 uy by g is equal to 6. So uy comes out as 30 meter per second. So this is the first thing, uy will come out as 30 meter per second. So the initial velocity, the magnitude and direction of the velocity, simply you can say initial velocity. I think it is asking out, it cannot be 2 root 2 because it is less than 3. 20 root 3, 6 root 40, 40 root 6, I have to check. So what is ux now? So after 2 seconds it is at 30 degree to the horizontal. So after 2 seconds the velocity in y will become 30 minus 20, that is 10, and what you have, 10 30 degree would be equals to 10 upon ux. So because ux remains always same, so that comes out as 10 root 3. So the initial velocity comes out as 30 square plus 10 root 3 whole square. So what you will have, you would take 10 as common, it would be 9 plus 3 I can write. So 10 root 12 I can write. 10 root 12 means if I take it out, it is 20 root 3 meter per second. And the angle you can write, 10 theta is uy by ux. Initial uy is 30, ux is 10 root 3, that comes out as root 3. So that is 60 degree. Go for option B. That is the most appropriate, that is the only answer here. Next. Your wooden wedge of mass m, inclination at alpha, rests on a smooth floor. Block of mass m is kept on the wedge. A force P is applied on the wedge as shown in figure. such that the block remains stationary with respect to h, the magnitude of force P is. So with respect to h it remains stationary, so let's say both goes with acceleration a, so P is the only horizontal external force that would be equal to m plus m into a. Now in frame of wedge, if I to apply, I need to apply the pseudo force ma, this is the force mg and this is n. So to remain stationary, that means these forces must balance. This force you already know is mg sin alpha, and this angle is alpha, this will be alpha, so this will become ma cos alpha. So what I can have, ma cos alpha is mg sin alpha, so a comes out as g tan alpha, that I think most of you directly can write. So putting the value, the p comes out as m plus m g times tan of alpha. So this is the first option I can see, option A is the right one. Next, when a proton and an antiproton annihilate, the energy released, as we know, when the antiparticles strike, they, you can say, kill each other, annihilate each other, and energy is released corresponding to total rest mass energy. So what is the rest mass energy of the proton? So I can say directly 2 times. Proton mass is 1.67 into 10 raised to the power minus 27 into c square, that is 9 into 10 to the power 16. That many joules you will have. So 2 9s are 18, and 1.67 can be written as 5 by 3 for simplifying calculations, and it is 10 to the power minus 11. So 18, this is 6, 6 5s are 30, so it is approximately 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 10 joule. So going by the option, this is option A that we will go for. Next, in an experiment to find the loss of energy with respect to time in a case of swinging simple pendulum, the graph between square of amplitude and time is. So graph between square of amplitude and time, that we say is basically the decreasing with time curve comes, it continuously decreases. So it is option A only. First option is clear, because here it is increasing, it is not, because of damping amplitude keeps on decreasing. It is exponentially decreases basically. So it exponentially decreases. So option A is the only appropriate one, you can say. You just remember by that amplitude is a naught e to the power minus bt by 2m, that is what you generally write. So you can make it out. Next one, after 11th, now 12th. In an experiment on photoelectric emission from metallic surface, wavelength of the incident light stopping potential is given, the threshold frequency would be. So first of all, what is the energy of photon? Energy of photon is what I can write, 4.14. I am using the h value in ev seconds into this. Okay, wavelength is given, sorry, so don't use it, it is not HU, use HC by lambda. So 1240 ev nanometer, 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 7 means 200 nanometers. So what you are left with, this is 6.2 ev. And stopping potential, that means K max is EVS, which is 2.5 ev. So what we are left with, the phi comes out as 6.2 minus 2.5, 12 minus 5 is 7, 5 minus 2 is 3, 3.7 ev. So that is equal to h nu naught. So nu naught would be 3.7 ev, and h is 4.14 into 10 raised to the power minus 15 ev seconds. So it is 3.7 upon 4.14 into 10 raised to the power 15 hertz. So if I do this, 37 upon 4.14, approximately 8 and 9, it would be between 8 and 9. So going by the option, it should be 9 into 10 raised to the power 14 hertz. That is the most appropriate I can go for. Next, the lower end of a glass capillary is dipped in water. Water rises to a height of 9. The tube is then broken at a height of 9, the height of the water column and angle of contact. So here it is insufficient length. So in case of insufficient length, water rises to the full length. So length would be 5, and the meniscus would be like that it will compensate for that. So how it is going to compensate for that? What I can say, originally what we can say, h is generally written as 2s cos theta upon rho g a. That is what you write. So a is same, g is same, rho is same, s is same. So h would be cos theta would be proportional to h. So initial cos theta that was equal to, let's say, initial cos theta upon final cos theta dash would be 9 by 5. So cos theta dash would be 5 by 9 times initial cos theta. Initial theta between water and glass you take as theta is 0, so that is 1. So cos theta dash comes out as 5 by 9. So theta dash is cos inverse 5 by 9. So I think out of first and fourth, A is the correct one. Next, you have a solid sphere rolling without slipping along the track shown in figure. The sphere starts from rest from a height h above the bottom of the loop of radius r, which is much larger. The minimum value of h for the sphere to complete the loop. So for completing the loop, what we have to do, for completing the loop, the important thing that we need to remember is, whenever it comes at like this, whenever it comes at this point, first of all at this point I need to get first these two things. From here to here, what I can say, its speed would be, let's say it gains the speed h, the velocity would be, velocity here would be root 2 h gh by beta, because it is pure rolling. Beta means solid sphere beta 1 plus k square by r square is 7 by 5, so it is root 2 gh upon 7 by 5, so root 10 gh by 7. Now and the bottom of the loop, the track shown in the figure, which is much larger, the minimum value of h for the sphere to complete the loop is. So here I am assuming the complete track the rolling goes on, so it would be an easy one. Let's say I can go like here only, no point in taking a v here only, you can apply here directly. So just no point was there, just see the highest point. So velocity at highest point in limiting case, you know, is equal to, limiting case would be equal to root of gr. R would be r minus r here, because of the radius effect itself it should be root gr minus r. So what I can say, this vh is root of g r minus r, and again from energy conservation, root 2 g, the height it is it would be like this, this height is, what I can say, this is 2r, so the height descended is h minus 2r, so it is root 2 g into h minus 2r upon beta, that I have written 7 by 5, so square it up, g into r minus r is 10 by 7 g into h minus 2r, that is what I can write. So what we have, gg goes 7r minus 7 times small r is 10h minus 20r, I can write. So what I am left with, I am left with 10h is equal to 27r minus 7 small r. If no option is like small r, so I have to neglect it, so h will come out as 2.7r, so it is much easier. I thought that small r might be used, but it is not used, it is 2.7r, you can go for. Next, for CE transistor amplifier, audio signal voltage across the collector emitter 2 kilo ohm is 4 volt. If the current amplification is 100 and base resistance is 1, the input signal voltage is. So first of all, the voltage gain you write as V naught upon Vi, that is equal to minus sign, no meaning here, beta RC by RB you can write. So beta is given, RC is given, RB is given, and V out is given. You need to find Vi. Vi would be, V out is 4 into RB. RB is 1 kilo ohm, that is 1000 upon beta is 100, and that was 2 kilo ohm, that is 2000. So it is 1 by 2, and it is 2 to 2 by 100, you can write 2 by 100 volt, or you can write it as 20 millivolts. So option would be B here, 20 millivolts. Next, body takes 10 minutes to cool from 60 to 50. If the temperature of the surrounding is 25 and 527 degree respectively, oh my god, I can't make it out. There is some super issue in this. I think I can see for it. The final temperature of the body, no point in doing it. There is no point. Actually the question was asking another after 10 minutes, and this is the surrounding temperature, this is 527. I don't know from where it has got. So what will be the temperature after 10 minutes if I assume that now? So the first 10 minutes, what we have, the temperature dropped by 10 degree in 10 minutes, that is k times average theta would be 55 minus theta is 25. In second time, let's say the final temperature be theta, so the drop would be 50 minus theta upon 10 minutes, that would be k. If I take the average, 50 plus 50 minus theta by 2, that would be 50 minus theta by 2, that I can write 50 minus theta by 2 minus 25, so it is coming out as k times 25 minus theta by 2, that is 50 minus theta upon 10 minutes. So this is first, this is second, divide both. What you will have, 10 upon 50 minus theta would be 30 upon what you will have, this would be, sorry, it would be, yes, 50 minus this is 50 minus theta by 2. Yes, I can write 50 plus 50 minus, okay, final temperature is theta, here I have done a mistake, it should be final temperature is theta, so 50 plus theta by 2 I should write, so it will become 50 by 2 is 25, so it becomes theta by 2. So be careful, don't do such mistakes. So it is goes up, so that would be 6, that is 1, 50 minus theta, theta is 300 minus 6 theta, theta becomes 300 by 7, that would be 40s, in 40s, and it would be 43, I think 43, close to 43, that is 42.85 degrees Celsius. Go for option D here. Next, The potential energy of a particle varies with distance x from fixed origin like this. The dimensions of A. So this is energy, this x is distance, so the dimension of A would be x square. That means the dimension of B is L square, first of all, because it is added to x square, so dimension of B is L square. And what we know, A root x upon B, that dimension must be equals to U. So, and B is L square, so A, dimension of A would be U is energy you know is ml2 t minus 2 multiplied by B, that is L square, by this would be L to the power half. So what you are left with, m L to the power 4 minus 1 by 2, that is 7 by 2 into T2. So ml 7 by 2 t minus 2, sorry. So this is option D, simple dimension analysis you do. In a YDSE, the two slits are 1 mm apart, screen is 1 meter away, monochromatic light of 500 nanometer is used. What would be the width of each slit for obtaining 10 maxima of double slit within the central maxima of a single slit? Okay, so width of the slit for the central maxima of a single slit would be what we write as, its angular width is given by 2 lambda by A is the slit width, and 10 maxima, that should be 10 times lambda d by d, that you can write because fringe width is lambda d by d. So lambda and lambda goes, so the value of A would be, it would be 2 by 10 d by d. So 1 by 5 into d, d is 1 mm apart, into the power minus 3, this is 1, so it is 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 I can write, or you can say 0.2 mm, that is the answer you will go for. Next, train is moving towards a stationary observer with a speed 34. Train sounds a whistle and frequency is f1. The train speed is reduced to 17, it is f2 if the ratio of f1 by f2. So it is going towards, so f1 would be f0 into, because observer is stationary, this would be v of sound, that is 340 upon 340 minus 34, and f2 would be f0 340 upon 340 minus 17. So if I do the ratios, f1 by f2, that ratio is 340 minus 17 upon 340 minus 34. So I can write this would be 17 into 19, I can directly go 20 into 17, and this would be 17 into 18. So the ratio is 19 by 18. So go for option D in this particular case. Next, the potential energy of a mass 5 kg in xy plane is this. And meter, the particle starts from rest from origin, then the speed of the particle at t equal to 2 seconds would be at t equal to 2 seconds. So first of all, we need to find out the force. Force you know would be minus del u by del x I cap minus del u by del y j cap. So minus sign I take common, del u by del x will give you minus 7, this is I cap, del u by del y, that is plus del u by del y will give you 24 j cap. So it will be 7 I cap minus 24 j cap. So force is constant. So if particle starts from rest from origin, the speed of the particle at 2 seconds. So work done by the force we apply, w net equals to delta k. So work done would be directly what I can make it out, force is like this in 2 seconds. Okay, wait a minute, because we need to calculate the work. So first of all, find the displacement. So how to find the displacement? The acceleration would be 7 by 5 I cap minus 25 4 by 5 j cap. So displacement delta r I can write as half at square because it starts from rest. So 7 by 5 I cap minus 24 by 5 j cap into t square is 4. So it is 14 by 5 I cap minus 48 by 5 j cap. This is delta r. So work done is f dot delta r. This is 7 into 14, 14 into 7 by 5, and it would be minus will become plus. So plus will become 24 into 48 by 5. That is what I am getting. So if this is what I am getting, so what I will be getting is this work completely comes out as 7 into 14, that is 7 4s are 28, 98 by 5 plus 48 into 24, 48 4s are 192, 48 2s are 96 and 19, that is 115 by 5. So add them 8 to 10, 10 and 5 15, this is 2, this is 1, 1250 by 5, this is 2, 25 is 5, 250 joules, that is half mv square. What is m was 5 and 2 v square. So v square is 250 into 2 by 5, that is 100. So v comes out as 10 meter per second. So it's a somewhat calculative, but you can make out, that's not that tough. Okay, next come to the numericals. You have an EMF cell is 6, internal is 0.4. What would be the reading of voltmeter having an internal resistance of 2.5? So what you will have is the internal resistance. You connect this voltmeter, which is a resistor RV. This is R, this is E. So it registers this potential, and this potential, that is the V registered, would be equal to, or measured, would be RV upon RV plus R into E. So this E, write it properly. So it would be 2.5, that is 2500, upon this would be 3000 on adding, into E, that is 6. So it is 5 volts. So the voltmeter reading would be 5 volts. So there will be an error here. Next, two coils are fixed in space at some distance from each other such that there is a flux linkage between them. Okay, when coil 1 has no current and the current in the coil 2 increases at a rate of 15, the EMF in the coil 1 is 25. When coil 2 has a current, the flux linkage in coil 2 would be, so first of all, I can find out mutual inductance from this first information. E1 would be equals to minus M di2 by dt, I can write. So checking magnitude, this is 25 into 10 raised to power minus 3 is M times 15. So M comes out as 25 by 15 into 10 to the power minus 3 Henry, that you can write. Now flux linkage, you can say flux would be equal to M times I into, so flux linkage in 2 would be 5 into due to 1 would be M times I1. M is 25 by 15 into 10 raised to power minus 3 into I1. I1 is 3.6. So it is 5 by 3 into 3.6 into 10 raised to power minus 3. You have to write in milliweber. This is 1.2. So 5 into 1.2 would be 6 milliweber. So the answer for me comes out as 6 here. Next, basic question on this mutual inductance. Now, this is the vernier instrument, has no error, very good. What is the length of rod? If one main scale division is 1 mm, use 7 MSD is 8 vernier scale division. So main scale division S is 1 mm. Least count you write as S minus vernier division, that is S minus V is equal to 7S by 8. So it is S by 8, that is 1 by 8 of mm. Now what would be the reading? So first it is coming here, so the main scale reading would be 4 mm plus the number of division coinciding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is coinciding. I think nothing is coinciding, and from the diagram it appears that probably this one is coinciding. This I can say is 1, 2, 3, fourth one appears to be coinciding, so that is 4 into 1 by 8 of mm. So it is 4 plus 1 by 2, that is 4.5 mm. So the length as per me would be 4.5. The photo should have been more proper. Next, the diagram shows a horizontal cylindrical container of length 30 centimeter, which is partitioned by a tight fitting separator. Separator is diathermic, that means heat can flow through but conducts heat very slowly. Okay. Initially the separator is in the state shown. Temperature of left is 100, right is 400. Okay, initially separator is in equilibrium. As heat is conducted, separator displaces to right. Find the displacement of separator after a long time when gases are in thermal equilibrium. So initially it is 100, it is 400, it is in equilibrium, so that means the pressure would be same, P0, P0. Now finally, let's say when it shifts, let's say it becomes 10 plus x, it becomes, what I can write, 20 minus x. Here the temperature would be Tt and pressure would be Pp. So temperatures are same, pressures are same, temperatures are same, pressures are same, you can make it out. Okay. Now in the first part, what I can make out, the thing that is very important is the number of moles in both the sections is going to remain the same. So here the number of moles in the first one was 100 into what I can say, so not 100, sorry, number of moles is PV upon NR. So PV upon NR, if I do P0 into area into 10 centimeter, that is PV upon RT, sorry, so R into T was 100. This was the number of moles, and the same moles will remain here, so it would be P into A into 10 plus X, and that would be R into T. That is the first one. So what I can do, I can cancel it out. So I can taking units, P by 10 would be equal to P0 by 10, basically equals to P into 10 plus X by T. That is the first. Now the second, for the second part, P0 into A into 20 would be upon 400 would be P into A into 20 minus X upon T. So what I do here also, if I simplify it, it is P0 by 20 is P into 20 minus X by T. So what should I do? What I am searching for X, so divide both. Dividing both, you will get very good 2 it will become, and it will become 10 plus x upon 20 minus x. So 40 minus 2x is equal to 10 plus x. So 30 is equal to 3x, so x is 10 centimeters. So again, just moles conservation in the both part, and the answer is arriving. Now the last one of this paper. A double convex thin lens made of refractive index 1.3 has both radii 15. What is the focal length when immersed in fluid of refractive index 1.63? So what we have initially, what in the focal length in this liquid would be n of the medium lens, which is 1.6 upon n of the medium, which is 1.63 minus 1. It is convex, so it would be 1 by 15 minus will become plus 1 by 15. So what because it is immersed in a medium whose refractive index is more than this, so it will not act as convex, it will act as a concave with negative 1. So it is 0.03 upon 1.63. I can make out with negative sign, and it would be 2 by 15 I can write from here. So doing this is 3 upon 163 into 2 upon 15, that is what I am getting. So if it is cancelling, no, I don't think so. F of lens, I write it as 163 into 15 by 6, that is what I can write. This is 5, this is 2. So 163 into 5 by 2, 5 3s are 15, 31 minus 815 by 2, so minus 4, it would be 07.5, so it is minus 407.5, that is what I am getting. This is answer in centimeters. So this is the answer that I'll get. So this was today's paper. Please share this channel to maximum aspirants. That is the only request I made to you. Thank you for watching.